You know, I did a research on something to improve language, and it was not a long time ago. I just came across with this idea, chunking. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. It was like 2013 or 2014, and this week I also did some research and improved my knowledge on this. Before I talk about this, before we talk about the definition of chunking, I'd like to tell you something that is important to know before we start. So, speakers of English, especially people who learn English as a second language or as a foreign language, they have problems with speaking. So this mainly focuses on speaking, but it also focuses on other areas. So this is the problem our students also face. The problem is, for example, when they are asked, for example, what have you been up to? They just say, well, I went to work and I went to the gym and I came home. And this is very short and this is rude, unfriendly, and this is not in British culture or in American culture especially, because Americans are really friendly. So when you answer in this way, and especially our students also, some of them do the same thing, and this is a problem. It's like eating plain pizza, like cheese and pizza, that's it. But we can make it more fascinating, like more sophisticated by adding mushrooms, olives, sausages. So it's so spicy. So what do we do for that? For example, I just gave you an example of how to answer a question. And now let's imagine another situation and answer the same question. For example, another example, someone comes up to you and says, okay, what have you been up to? You just say, oh, you see, I went to work, there was a bad traffic and I had a load of work to do. My boss told me to do this and that, and I had a really hectic day. And then I went to gym, I had fun, I met my friends there, and it was a really awesome time. I had a great fun. Then I came back home. What have you been up to? So this is a different situation. So here, the problem is the people who have lack of language, they are rude, unfriendly. So we need to fix this. And when students face this problem, we can just teach them something about this word, chunking. But before we talk about chunking, we need to know the definition of the word chunking. I know some of you know this word, but some of you, I'm not sure, might not know this word. So let's start with the definition of the word chunk. Who knows the word chunk? What does it mean? So it can be in linguistics or in everyday life. No idea? Okay. Chunk is a phrase, or you can say phrase is a group of words that go together and mean something as a whole. So basically, chunk means a group of words, I repeat, that means something as a whole when they're together. Okay, so the next thing, when we are talking about chunking or chunks, grammar isn't really necessary here in this case. For example, I know I'm not saying that grammar isn't really important at all. I'm just saying when you want them to improve their language, then you need to focus on more chunking than grammar. Now, I know it's really controversial. I know a lot of you are against this idea, but I'm also for this idea that yes, grammar is important, but not the most important thing. Now, why did I say that? Okay, before I go on to the main parts, I want to tell you something about myself. I know I told you that I did some research, but that cannot prove that I'm sure that this idea works. But I want to give you some examples of my life too. For example, I speak a little Russian and some Hindi and some English. So, for example, at school and at high school, I just our schools, our high schools, they tell you everything about grammar. They teach you in accordance with grammar. But before I started using Russian language with the native speakers, I couldn't really speak Russian. So what I mean is grammar books, didn't help me for like 12 years. But then, after I finished high school, I started talking to Russian people, native speakers. Now I just developed my speaking, because before I did that, I could barely speak Russian. So then I started developing that. And this next thing is Hindi. I studied Hindi for 3 years, and I did a 1-year course and 3 years at high school. So they did a really good job, but I couldn't really speak Hindi like fluent speakers, So the next thing happened is I went to India, then I started talking to native speakers, then I just improved. You'll be surprised how much result or how much progress your students can get by understanding in context or learning context rather than grammar books. So this is another example, and the next and the last example is that I can also speak English, but when I learned English, when I was studying English, I didn't know about this. So of course, automatically you kind of record things, you kind of copy language rather than learning grammar books. So studying grammar books happened with my classmates, and they were not very good at speaking English, and I think that's probably because they just didn't pay attention to other things rather than just grammar books. Now, what's the alternative? It's chunking. So chunking is using expressions like using chunks in context. Okay, do you understand the word chunking now? So using expressions, fixed expressions, and chunks of language in context. Now, traditionally, linguists and teachers thought that grammar is the most important thing and words are the most important thing. But nowadays, in modern society, the attention has been shifted from grammar to more lexis, and then more from word to chunks. You see, idioms, phrases. The next thing. So what on earth is chunking? I will give you another example to illustrate this idea of chunking. First of all, imagine you're in a English-speaking country and you barely speak a word of English, and someone comes up to you and says, "How's it going?" And you think that it's a yes/no question, and then you may just say yes or no. But then you find out that later someone corrects you, or you hear someone answering that, and you get to know that it is the alternative of "How are you?" So what happened here? The person didn't learn grammar at all. They didn't know how, they didn't know is and going. They just went there and found out that this means "How are you?" So you don't need to think about grammar rules like question word, be, and going to understand the meaning of this. So you just say good times. No need to they are never out. Okay, now. Now, when you're thinking about chunking, you pick up chunks and analyze. So this is what happens when you are a child. Imagine you are a child. Just think about when you are a child, when you are a baby. No one taught you your native language, your Uzbek language, by giving you some handouts, or not handouts, your grammar book. So you didn't learn it by that. You just heard and learned that. And if you want your students to be speak like native speakers, then they should also do the same. An example is, for example, when you're a baby, you just say, "I want this," or "I want something," "I want that." So the baby learns to speak in this way. So they understand that when they say "I want" an object, it means they want to express their desire to have something, and they get that. And the first thing they do is positive statements. So they don't know how to make questions. For example, they don't know how to say, for example, "Do you have something?" and so on. Or they don't know how to make negative statements. But if you teach your students, for example, you can teach it in this way, and then, for example, when you say, I have a dictionary, so you don't need to explain the grammar rules that to make them understand that this means that they have a dictionary. For example, now they can just change the word dictionary to pen. For example, when they understand that I have a dictionary means I have, you see there's dictionary on me, so when they understand that, they don't need grammar rules like don't and articles or other things, for example, and then, for example, they know this means this, and then they can change the word dictionary to other things. For example, I have a computer, I have a pen, I have a pencil, and then the same thing happens with negative statements. For example, when you teach them, I don't have a dictionary, means this is the negative of it, or when you don't want to say negative, you can just say, I don't have a dictionary, means there's no dictionary on me. So they understand this, and then they can just change the word dictionary to another item, like I don't have a computer, I don't have a pencil, I don't have a notebook. And the same thing happens with the question form. Do you have a dictionary means it is used when you're asking someone, so they can change the word, the last word, and then go on. Now the next thing, how can we improve fluency in terms of chunking? So when you learn language in chunks, it helps you with the student's fluency. For example, let's take the word thing. Thing means a nameless object, right? So it's an object. But the word thing can be used in many other expressions. For example, it's that sort of thing, or all that things, you see? So you can use this in many other ways. For example, yeah, it's not my kind of thing, yeah. You're not my thing, it's a thing for me. So there are lots of other meanings. So how can they understand that thing means an object, and how can they use that, how can they understand that it has other meanings? So of course they just see how it's used and then learn it, because there's no grammar that shows that thing can be used in many other ways. It's just phrases that they should learn, and it just happens when people speak naturally, and you cannot teach them to do this. Now, why should we learn chunks? Because it helps with fluency. We talked about this. Now, the next thing I want to mention is when they learn by grammar books, as I said in the beginning of my speech, it's kind of, to be frank, it's kind of stressful, first of all. Secondly, it's not the most efficient thing to do. I mean this, I'm frank, I'm sorry, but it's fact. Just remember your childhood. Put them in your shoes. You were also really bored, you thought that this is the most boring thing to do. So just make their life easier. For example, it can also be proven by some scientific research. There's a company called Neuroscience, and they made the research on this learning, chunking, and so on. So they found out that they also made some research on our brains, and they found that our brains are not created, or they're not designed to learn items, one thing at a time. They are designed to learn 4 items at a time. So they learn patterns, not individual words. So this is also another proof that chunking works better for your brain, and it's easier for them to do this for your brain. It's natural, it's biology, so no one can change it, right? The next thing, let's talk about what types of chunks we have in the world of English. So the types are collocations, idioms, and we can also say discourse markers. For example, collocations are a group of words that are made by the native speakers only. You see, this is really important that you should understand that collocations cannot be made by other people. They are made by native speakers, because they know what words go together correctly. So we can't teach them collocations, we can't make them, or we can't make them do or make collocations, because it's just copied, it's just what native speakers should do. So these are collocations, so they should learn this. Idioms, you know them. Idioms are Idioms are collection of words that mean something else when they're taken individually, but when they're as a group, they mean something different. And discourse markers. For example, discourse markers, we also say them like signposts or cohesive devices. They are called in different ways, but let's focus on discourse markers. They are used in your language to say what's next or what's before. For example, as I was saying, or as far as I'm concerned, so these are discourse markers, and there's no grammar that teaches you this because they are used when you take the word individually, they mean something else, but when they're together, they mean totally different thing. So this is also the type of chunk. So this is the list that I've just mentioned. Now, the next question that arises, okay, we talked about chants, chanting, why is it important, what types of them are there, and now we should just get to know how they should learn chants, how. And then, no, first of all, we need to do, okay, let's skip this part, we'll get back to this later when we do a small task class here. All right, let's just do this part first, and then we'll move on to the how part. Okay, so here I have just three sentences to fill. You need to do it in pairs, okay? So should we just do it in pairs? What do you think completes the gap? Did I do just one?
Yeah.
So, you know what? You have only 10 to 15 seconds to do this. So, it's just easy and it doesn't take much time. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's give them 5 more seconds.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so the first one.
Under.
Under. Okay, the second one.
Climb.
Kind.
Climb.
Your climb. There's also grammar. There's also I've been. Actually, it's you're over the hill. Over the hill. Yes, you're over the hill means you're too old and not comfortable with your age and with your looks. Okay, the last one.
Fortune.
Made fortune with, right? It's a phrasal verb.
Made a week.
I expected this answer.
Made up.
Made up. Made off. Yeah,
Made
because.
With double.
Yeah, made off. Made away with, yeah, that's not correct. You could say get away with, but it means something else. But here, make off with something means steal something and run away with it. Okay, so these are just examples of the types I just mentioned. And now, no, not again. Now, yeah, we are getting back to the point how we should learn chunks. When you explain that they should learn chunks, then you should also tell them how they can learn that. So the first thing they need to do just 2 little things, you know, that's not a big deal. So the first thing is, I'm getting distracted. Okay, the first thing to do is that they should notice chunks, you know, so they can notice and underline that, that's it. So what do they do with noticing and underlining? For example, they have their textbooks, you can just tell them to notice them and underline them. And another thing is that they can use magazines, for example. You can tell them that they should also buy, or they can just search online and find English magazines. And there's plenty of conversations, and in conversations, those English speakers, native speakers use a lot of chunks. So they can also use that to copy chunks. And now, another thing to do with your partners, another thing, the same thing, their work. Here you have a conversation. Just put yourself in the shoes of your students and try to notice and underline the chunks yourself first, and then you no, just find them and you will tell me. We'll just check what you found. Okay, just find and underline, and that's it. Try to underline chunks only. Just what you think. So, in the first paragraph, what chunks have you noticed?
Came up with.
Alright.
Communal stretching session.
Would be appropriate as well.
Okay, you see, I just want to mention something, that chunks are usually made with the most common words. They're not made with technical words or less frequent words. They're always most common words, okay? That are taken, when you take them separately, they are the most common words, but when they're together, they are chunks. So, the next one is, I don't know, here in the first paragraph. Yeah, because, or maybe, I don't know, a yoga lesson in the evening. So here, I don't know, is just an expression that you use when you want to fill your speech, when you don't know what to say next, for example, when you're thinking, for example. Because here, I don't know, doesn't mean that I have no idea. It means just a filler, just a filler. The next one, in the next paragraph,
What about? But
here,
what about? I mean.
Introducing
I mean is the only.
This is a filler.
Yeah, this is also a filler, of course, because filler are sometimes chunks because they are phrases. So, and I mean, you mentioned some stretching, so here just the person is filling the gap. Doesn't mean that I want to have a meaning here, but just filling the gap. And the third paragraph,
I just have the idea.
I just have the idea. Yeah, you can say it's a phrase. And
I mean,
yeah,
yes.
Even a little bit.
Do in a short time, every now and then.
A little bit.
yeah,
Now and then.
every now and then. So here, every now and then is just a chunk, and the last paragraph is full of chunks. If you
Quite
notice.
right.
Yeah, that's quite right. Yes. And,
Pretty realistic.
no. I don't know. I mean, something like this. Something like this. So here, something like this doesn't
Anything like
mean
that.
anything like that. And on a voluntary basis, also surprisingly, it's a chunk. Yeah. Yeah, it's a collocation, but because collocation is a type of chunk. So on a regular basis means often or regularly. Okay, now. So, as I mentioned, you can suggest that they should also get a magazine, and then that common words so chunks are made of common words. In English, they are usually really common words. Now, you learned how they can learn chunks, and you can tell them about this. And the best way of learning chunks is that they should practice that. For example, when they notice that they underlined it, and soon after learning a chunk, they should practice that, and they should practice that repeatedly. So here we have our list. For example, let's first talk about collocations. And for example, when you ask them to find collocation, or for example, when they learn a new word, tell them to find a collocation that goes with this word, because words alone cannot be used in speech, so the language is made up of chunks, so they should know what words go with this. For example, do. What collocations do you know for the verb do?
Do me a favor.
Do your best, do your favor,
Do a course.
Do up,
do a core, do up. Okay. Now, phrasal verbs are also chunks. So because there are verbs and adverbs, and so they are both participles, and when they're together, they mean something. So phrasal verbs are also a way of learning chunks. For example, let's talk about the phrasal verb "come on." For example, when they see this phrasal verb in their, for example, in their phrase book. For example, someone says, "Come on, we're getting late," or "We're gonna get late." So you don't need to translate these things all the time. They can understand that. So encourage them to use context with vocabulary, especially in this case. For example, they can understand that it means, "Come on, we're getting late." So "come on" means hurry up. So they can kind of understand, even if it's the first time they came across this. So it's a good idea that they should also understand by context, not by translating. For example, you translating all the time, because you are not going to be with them forever. So they should also learn to understand context themselves. You know, when they build this skill, or when you encourage them to do this all the time, they just have the ability. They just develop the skill to learn from context, and then they will just be experts at finding out the meaning without even opening a dictionary. Now, when you ask them to learn a new word, I just mentioned that they should also write collocations. For example,
Take off.
any verbs, take off, and
Take
what about collocations?
Take
Take
exams.
exams, take revenge, right? Okay. And finally, they should also practice it and repeatedly and often, okay? And then another way to learn chunks is that they can actually learn collocations by topic. For example, 1 week they learn collocations. 1 week, the whole week they spend looking for collocations related to weather. The next week they can find collocations related to fashion, for example. And this way they can also develop their language. What about longer phrases? There are longer phrases in English, so they can ask you, "Okay, teacher, I got you. You think you're a genius, but what about longer phrases? What do we do with them?" For example, okay, collocations, phrasal verbs, they're small, it's easy, but what about longer phrases? For example, let's take this example. What was your favorite book when you were a child? You can tell them that they can learn chunks by dividing them into bits. For example, they can learn this bit first. What was your favorite book? And then this is another bit to learn when you were a child. And then when they also do this, they can use this bit with other beginnings and match them and mix them. And they can do the same with this part. They should learn how to mix them and match them to other endings. So when they learn the bits of the chunk, they can mix and interchangeably use them too. Okay, the last word is actually the method or project, you can say, I talked to you about today is really helpful because it's easier, not only easier as I mentioned before, but it's quicker. It helps them with their speaking, listening, reading. They work on that. It doesn't help that way, but they start working on that. And also, surprisingly, it teaches them grammar sometimes, and it teaches them pronunciation and style, because style can only be acquired in this way. So it helps with some dumb students we have nowadays. They don't want their brain to work, and so just give a hand to them, you know. So they are having a hard time, and this is the quicker way, and this is the easier way for them, and they don't have to really think about grammar, and yeah, they can improve a lot in this. And thank you very much. Thanks for coming. I hope to see you again soon. Oh, really? Don't you have questions? I expected that too.
No, if you don't want.
Okay, you can throw a lot of questions. I'm ready. I did a lot of research on this. I'd be really glad to answer your question because you might not understand, for example, some parts. So if you didn't get any parts, I would be really grateful.
So you give example now.
You said practice repeatedly.
In
How?
in conversations, in role plays. You can tell them to find a native speaker, a pen friend, you can say pen pal, but that is a hard thing to do. So you need to make an environment here, English speaking environment, and they can practice it in class. They can practice it with you or with a native speaker, but if it's hard, then they can do it in class. That's the only way left.
But just for example, the chunking, I think it is kind of picking up language, yeah?
Yeah.
So, it means that when you are in the society, for example, you are in English-spoken countries, you pick up language from other people, yeah?
Yeah.
It means that, so you copy only, I wouldn't say only, but mostly informal language. It means that. What about formula in the situation when you just want to have formal language? And what would you do in the case?
Okay, look, actually, this is not copying the whole English language. This is just copying the locations and the types that I mentioned about. So copying phrases, words that go together. And then, for example, if you want to copy some formal chants, you can use, for example, other reading materials because this is not only spoken. You see, this is listening and reading. For example, you can read magazines or other kinds of textbooks, for example, and get the chance. And you can listen. You can listen to some recordings, and you can look at what they're saying at the same time, or just listen and try to get some chance.
So,
or look at them.
I want to say that, for example, we have to be really careful when we just pick up the language. So, is it suitable in the case or not? For example, among some people, maybe it's suitable, but in an official places, maybe the situation is the same, but I think it's not the case.
You should be careful when
Yeah,
to use what's going on there. You should be really careful, and you should really be sure that it's used in that situation only, and make sure that you don't need inappropriate ways.
Can you give examples to your students when you copy some kind of language or examples? How to copy it, for example? Do you get some examples for your students?
I do. Yeah, I make, for example, when there's a chant, I just tell them that they go together and they mean this. And I usually give examples. And usually I ask them to give examples too. But I just give that for homework, and they just do it beforehand. They just can't. Sometimes they might not be able to give an example, but yeah, there are some people who can just make an example using the chant. But usually I just tell them to do it at home, not in class. And then they just tell me what they got. So they just present their examples, prepared at home. Yeah, we can work on that later in the next lesson.